Hello and welcome to The Roaming Thinker. Today we're going to be talking about saving some money on food shopping, or if you're in America, food groceries. So I've got together 10 tips that can potentially free up or at least save you some money, especially with the cost of living crisis we live in now. These tips aren't limited to country or supermarket, so essentially if you're in any other country than the UK, these tips will still work. So the first tip would be to set a food budget for each week. So depending on your situation, if you get paid from a job or whatever really, set aside some money for your food budget. So if you get paid £1,500 a month, set aside, I don't know, for example, you could set aside £200 a month, which would be £50 a week. And that can go into a separate pot, however, but that's tip number one. And that's definitely helped, by the way, because it's meant that when we've got to the till, we've always stayed either on or under the set amount we've applied. Tip number two will be to meal prep for the week. So what I mean by that is setting your week out, Monday to Sunday, and essentially choosing meals that you want to have for your evening meal for each day of the week, so you know what you're having. So you can do it for lunch or breakfast, depending on your situation. If you get food at work, that's a winner. So essentially it's picking meals out from Monday to Sunday, writing it down. Me and my missus write it down on a whiteboard so we know Monday night what we're having, Thursday night we're having curry. So that's tip number two. Tip number three is similar to tip number two, in the sense that you're writing the ingredients down for what you need. So for example, say you're having risotto on Monday, you'd write the ingredients that you need for risotto, like chicken, risotto rice, peppers, whatever. This definitely helps because you're not going into the supermarket and going, what shall I have for tea? Shall I have fish pie? Oh yeah, I'll have that. You're knowing exactly what you're having, exactly what ingredients are going in. Like my missus writes the ingredients down for what we're having, and then on the next page she writes the layout of the shop. To say you walk into a Tesco and you walk into the produce section first, which she knows exactly where the ingredients that she's having. Then we'll go to the meat bit, then we'll go to the bread section or whatever. But that definitely helps, rather than just going into the supermarket willy-nilly and going from one end back to the next, because I don't know about you, but some supermarkets can be very overwhelming sometimes. So the next tip I've practically just explained then is to get a feel for your supermarket layout and listing your ingredients, so you're not getting distracted essentially, because it is very easy to just go in, get distracted and go, ooh, nice shiny things, and pick that up. So yeah, tip number, what are we on now? Tip number 5 is, and this is a big one, but I'm sure most people have heard this throughout their life, is to not go shopping when you're hungry. When you're hungry, you're not thinking straight. Like that Snickers advert, you're not you when you're hungry. It is a massive mistake, because you can, well, we've all done it before. We've all gone into supermarkets where you're hungry and you go, oh, I'll pick that chocolate bar, or I'll have that donut, and then once you've eaten it, you're not hungry after that, and you start to wonder why you bought all this food. So that is a massive waste of money. So definitely do not go when you're hungry, and if you are hungry, just have a quick snack at home or something, and then write your shopping list, or write your meal prep. We usually do our meal prep just before we go to the food shop. So we'll sit down. This is how we do it, for anyone that's wondering. As if anyone watches these videos. We've got a whiteboard which we write our food down. So we've got Monday to Sunday on the whiteboard, and Lauren's got a notepad where she writes down the ingredients, and on the next page writes down the ingredients with regards to the layout of the shop. And then we literally go then. There's no, you know, there's no random, oh let's go and do the food shop now. It is set out. It's a bit OCD, but it works for us, and we've managed to save quite a lot of money doing it. So the next tip would be to, this is big as well, calculate as you put stuff in the trolley. Now I know you might look like a bit of a knob doing this, but definitely helps. And if you're not brilliant at maths, this is massive. What I mean by that is, when you pick up your ingredient, if there's two of you, one can be the calculator, one can be the picker. So I'm the calculator and Lauren's the picker when we do it. So she'll pick up an item that's on the shopping list, I'll add it to the calculator. So we know exactly at each point in the shop where we're up to on the food budget and if we can go over or under. And it's always nice when we get to the till and we've actually saved £10 out of the food budget, which, you know, might be £10, but £10 now is actually quite a bit. So yeah, calculate as you put stuff in your trolley. The next tip would be to use loyalty schemes or vouchers. So for example, places like Tesco, you can get club card discounts, so you're saving money there. Or they do schemes where you can convert your point, I'm not too clued up on how it works, but you can convert your points into vouchers or restaurant vouchers and stuff like that. So that's even better, because you're getting a free day out or a free meal out. We usually go to Lidl, but at the moment I think we're going to try going to Tesco, because for reasons I've just said. But Lidl and Aldi, you can't really complain. They are cheap, and the products aren't actually any different really. Maybe the fruit and veg sometimes is a bit not as good, and the fact that they don't do loose vegetables, but other than that, you know, you're scraping the barrel trying to think of the differences. So yeah, use your loyalty schemes or your vouchers, or a lot of supermarkets have apps now where you can scan your thing at the till and it takes some money off, or you can get deals on certain ingredients, like 15% if you're having tortillas or fajitas, 15% off wraps that week. Little things, but they add up. The next tip, I actually found this on a documentary I was watching, and that is that there's hardly any difference between the Savour brand and the medium brand. What I mean by the medium is like the supermarket's brand. So say you've got Asda's Savours and Asda's own brand, and then you've got the premium brand. There's literally on this documentary, it was wild. They did all this scientific research, and it was proved that there was literally no difference between the Savour brand and the mid brand. So when it comes to food shopping, we usually pick the Savour brand now, unless it's something that we actually want to have. So the next tip, and this is a big one as well, this will save a lot of money, is if you're not buying something, don't buy it just because it's on sale. And what I mean by this is, I think this is a societal issue as well at the moment. So stuff like Black Friday, when people say, oh, did you buy anything in Black Friday? And you say no, and they sort of go, oh, why not? Well, you know, there's loads of deals, and it's like, well, I didn't really want that thing to begin with. So, you know, the same applies for food. So you go into a food shop and something's on offer, say like a box of PG Tips tea bags, and it's like a really good offer that you can't miss. If you're not going to buy tea bags anyway, don't buy them. You know, spending £1.50 on something that's dead cheap is worse off than not spending one. Well, you know what I mean. You get the picture. So yeah, those are the 10 tips that I've got, and like I say, they do apply anywhere. So if you're in any other country, they do apply there. And it might seem a bit drawn out, but once you've got it down to the T, it literally takes 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or 5 to 10 minutes doing your meal prep and your ingredients. It is a quick process, and it will save you money. You know, I mean, this is just from personal experience. We put £40 in a week, so it's £160 a month, and there's a lot of times where we don't even spend 30 quid. So if you've saved £10 every time, that's an extra £40 back to save or do whatever, have a meal out. So it's definitely helped. I definitely recommend these tips. So yeah, thanks for watching. This has been the Roaming Thinker and saving money on food groceries.